Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Welcome to another Friday night bee chat. I'll go ahead and get the link set up. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We got some good information to pass out tonight that it's already actually been posted on No Life Beekeeper chat. Hey Brad and Keith and Mike and Tom and Melissa's. I seen them in there. And we got Randy, and here's Tom. Got some big news we're going to be passing out. And there's Pastor Larry. And there comes Bill in. How's everyone doing?
Good evening.
Hey. There's Lee. So anyway, hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. And your bees are getting ready for winter. This week here in Maryland was a little bit more chillier, I'll say, in the 50s and 40s at night, sometimes down a little bit lower, closer to the high 30s. And hey, Chris, Russell. And I did last weekend. I went ahead and I did something I've been wanting to do for quite a few years. I'm kind of late to the game to it as far as making my hives into condensing hives, as they call it today. I went ahead and put 1.5 inch styrofoam, I guess you call it styrofoam, on top of the inner covers. And I closed up the vent hole in the inner cover with a piece of 1/4 inch board about 3.5 inches wide and 5 inches long. Put the insulation on, put the telly cover back on. So we'll see how that does when it creates a heat dome in the top of the hive, as what Bill Heschbeck was showing and stuff. I mean, and then the sides are not insulated, so the moisture should condense off the sides of the hives. Yeah, Lee's got a headache. He not be in for long. Hopefully he's, whether that's a migraine or just what. Or was that too much mead, Lee? And all that. So what's Bill up to?
Oh, chugging along. Been a long week.
Turn your
Been
mic.
cold this week.
And been into bees any?
No, not this week.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Russell. Migraine. Yeah, he says it's a migraine. Okay. So that's what's happening here this weekend. Tomorrow at probably afternoon, I'll be hitting them with another treatment of OA. And of course, before I do that, I'll be cleaning off the mite boards, and then come back the next day and see what type of a drop that I have. Hey, Sarah, and all that. So that's my plans for my bees right now. And all. What else is everybody doing? Let's see, George. He's out in Iowa. He's done with his bees until March. Insulated layings hives. Yeah, I used to have a license hive, and it did quite well too. It was a nuke. Yeah, let's see. There's Jason. And John. So, John from West Cliff, are you keeping your entrance down to, let's say, a 2-inch hole or something like that? And do you insulate year round? Dennis said if he puts appy tablets in his hives tomorrow, is it going to be going to be okay? I would say yes.
Yep. I would too.
There's Minnesota Mike put on a great video there on how he was insulating and closing his hive up this afternoon. And yeah, Mike, we need some rain. We were supposed to have got rain last night, but I don't know what we even call it, miserable. It might have gotten something a little bit damp, but that's about it. Everything is pretty dry around here.
It was clouding up this afternoon like it was going to rain again here.
It rained late last night, but it was more of a sprinkling type thing. It did have some puddles in the driveway, but that's about it.
We got a 1/2 inch of rain the other night.
Did you?
Yep.
Well, maybe we got better than I thought. And Sealy's entrance size is 3/8 by 4. Runs lice and hives with 2-inch foam board insulation sleeves. Specific for my location. Okay. Do you have any mice problems with that 4-inch opening? I got 4-inch openings on mine right now too. I don't think they're about 3/8 too.
Happy Friday night, Darren.
And we're up to 50, folks. We should get here around 80, and then we'll make our announcement. So, what are you doing now, Tom? Are you doing anything in the hives at all?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, actually, we were. I worked this week on feeding some more. As a matter of fact, I started. This is my second round of 2-to-1 feeding, and I should be. I'm hoping that I'm mostly done with that. I was, as I'm going along, peeling off a bunch of top covers of the hives, and I put on some of that. What's the stuff I got from
Super DFM.
the Super DFM Plus that we got from Earl Hoffman at Strong Microbials. He got me a big bag of it actually in February. And I haven't had much chance to use it most of this year, honestly, but I started maybe about a month or so ago, started to put it on some colonies. So what I did was I have top feeders on. I think, Charlie, we talked about this before. I use the Man Lake top feeders. They're the trough feeder. They're 1 gallon on each side with a screen in the center. They work okay. They're not perfect, but for the most part, they do fairly well. And you can feed pretty quickly with those. But you're feeding a lot of 1-to-1, and I switched over to 2-to-1 maybe 2 weeks ago and fed them all 1 gallon to 2 gallons. And then I just finished off with 1 gallon on most of them, but they seemed to be hefting pretty good. So I'm hoping this is going to be the tail end of it. So looks like for our weather anyway, next week, about midweek, it starts to get down into the 40s for the highs. So we'll see how long that lasts. Maybe it will dip and stay there. Maybe it'll warm back up. Who knows? St. Louis weather.
Around
a little bit.
It's like you say, it's kind of weird here and all that when it comes to like, as far as it's like a roller coaster type of thing.
Yeah. I think most of the middle part of the country from north to south tends to do that, bounces back and forth. from week to week, it seems like. And St. Louis is definitely good for doing that. I actually started this week too, putting oxalic acid vapor treatments on the colonies. I normally don't do it this time of year, but with those new vaporizer guns that Robbie's puts out, and there's really no reason not to. I understand that there's probably some of my colonies still have a little bit of brood in there, but I don't think it's probably a whole lot, especially. But we're at the middle of November. Usually our broodless time probably comes in at December, because that's most of the time when I do. It's toward the tail end. I'll do a couple of rounds of oxalic acid vapor, but while I was out feeding, it doesn't take me hardly any extra time to run through 30 colonies, 20 colonies, whatever's in that yard, and put the vape gun in them after I put feed on them. So I know when I pop those top feeders up and put some of that DFM plus on there, those bees didn't like having that top popped, because they had some propolis and a little bit of comb between the two of them, between the top bars and those feeders. So as soon as I popped that, they weren't super happy. Most of them were a little bit protective, so I guess rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, did you see any brood, like cat brood in your hive?
I'm not even checking. I'm not even looking right now. The last time that I fed, which was a week and a half ago, ish, and then again this time, for the most part, I'm not, unless something looks like it's a little bit off. I'm not even opening. I'm not even splitting frames on them. I'm just leaving them be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd say this time of year, when things start to cool off a little bit, and they've put a lot of propolis on all the frames and the frame rests and stuff, and I try to scrape them a little bit as I go along, just to keep things cleaned up a little bit. But I'll tell you what, it's like you'll darn near split frames and break frames if you're not cautious. You almost have to. I've gotten into a habit over the last couple of years that before I pop a frame up, I break it to the side. So I push the frames apart from the middle on each side, and then I go to pull them up, because again, I'm telling you, there's certain times of the year, and when you get this late in the season, as that propolis is a little bit harder and not gummy, you will pull a top bar off of one of the frames, even if it was nailed appropriately. I've done it. So
yeah, I have to agree with you there. It like you say, that propolis is hard, and and it doesn't pop like it normally does, and all that. And
probably the only reason I would need to actually split frames and dive down in it is just for curiosity's sake. And most of the time I usually do stuff like that just for curiosity, just to see what's happening. But, at this point in time, let's be honest, if you're splitting frames, I mean, depending on where you're at, if you're down south, I mean, I'm sure you still have brood in colonies. The Midwest, probably hit and miss. Probably north up there by you, and even further up toward the Canadian border and such, it's probably pretty minimal at best, I'm guessing, if it's even existent at that time, So, you're not going to change anything by pulling brood frames and stuff. I'm looking at the entrances, and seeing what looks like and the activity is, which is, it's dumbed down quite a bit for sure. And then seeing where they're at in the boxes and stuff, just to kind of check populations. Every once in a while, I'll split the double deep box that I've got, just to see, where they're at and what size the cluster is. But other than that, I don't really worry too much about it, because I'm not going to change any of the outcomes at this point in time of the year.
No, it's it's pretty much a done deal as far as what's happening in the hives. If you got issues, it's like it's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I still have probably a few smaller ones. Than I was talking with Matt at Sandy Valley here earlier today. He lives by me, and he jumps in these chats. I don't know if I've seen him yet this evening, but anyway, him and I were talking a little bit for this evening, and he was kind of asking me a little bit about a couple of things. And I said, I said, I got a few colonies that some smaller ones that I should have fed a little bit earlier this season. Like right after when I was pulling honey, I probably should have started feeding a few of these, and I didn't, and they suffered a little bit. So I probably have maybe another half a dozen colonies that the clusters are small. So, at this point in time, we'll see what happens.
Let's see here. Bracken said there's no link, and it's right.
It didn't make it to the top.
Oh, there was a link in there. That's how I got on. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a link there, but it didn't make it. it didn't pin
Oh.
to the top of YouTube.
I see.
Okay, let me work on that right quick. Paste.
Hey, Bill, can you remind me where you're at in the country?
Got to hit the double
I am
check.
in Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, in
Virginia,
Shenandoah
okay.
County.
Gotcha.
There it is, Bracken.
Do you have a lot of flip-flop temperatures in the wintertime?
Up and until about the end of November, first part of December, yes.
Okay.
It'll get warm. It'll be in the 70s, and then all of a sudden it'll be in the 40s for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like we've had this week.
Okay.
So it's hit or miss.
Pretty typical on the middle part of the country, I think. It tends to do that up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
There he is.
There he is.
What's up?
Are you home, Bracken?
Yep. Got home this morning.
How's it going, man?
Can you turn
Going
that?
good. How are you, Tom?
Doing well,
Can you
thank you.
turn that mic down some, Bracken? I don't know whether you can or not.
That's a good question. Bear with me.
Well, anyway, go ahead, Bracken. What's up with you all?
Is it pretty loud?
It's not too bad now. I guess it's the echo of the room, maybe.
That's fine.
All right. Let me get back to now. I can't see you guys.
We're good.
Yeah. So I just got back from.
California.
Yep. We left yesterday at I think 9:30 in the morning. Got down there and unloaded the bees at probably about 8 o'clock at night. Got them put into a little holding yard, and then we went and ate dinner and turned around and drove home. It took us. We hit some really bad weather over Donner's Pass, and it was brutal.
That's the Rockies.
Yep.
Is that like snow territory over there?
Yeah, they kicked me off the road and told me I had to go put chains on my trailer. I had 4-wheel drive in my truck, but they wanted my trailer to have chains on it. So
They want your trailer to have chains? I don't understand.
just if the trailer has brakes, it has to have chains on it.
Okay, I
Just-
understand that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it took me 2 hours and 45 minutes to get over from Reno, Nevada to Chico, California. And then on the way home, it took 5.5 hours for the same trip because of the snow. So
Wow. So do they make you chain up the truck too, or just the trailer?
just the trailer. Unless you don't have 4-wheel drive, then they make you chain your truck up.
Okay. Yeah, they don't want to be pulling people out and causing more slowdowns on those passes, I'm sure.
Yeah, and when it came in, it was a foot of snow in, I don't know, it came in fast.
Holy cow. Do you know what elevation that is up there?
I don't. It's got to be 5,000 or 6,000 feet,
Yeah.
which ain't terribly high. Well, it is. My city here sits at 4,800 something feet,
Okay.
but that's also the ocean's a lot closer, so it's really quick.
Yeah.
7,000 feet.
No, somebody got it for
Okay.
Donner's Pass.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
man.
So now you take your bees from Utah over to Cali and you drop them in a holding yard. Now that holding yard is run by a broker.
No, so he's one of my buddies. His name's Oki. He's
Yeah.
a queen breeder. He's out there in Chico, California, and he's got. So I guess he's like a broker, but he's a beekeeper too. He's got his own colonies, so he's just going to take them in with his.
All right. Todd wants to know. He's out there and close to Fresno. Where I guess what little area? I guess is it?
I dropped him off just south of Chico, California.
Yeah, I believe that's a dirt rooster hat he's wearing. Is that right, Bracken?
Oh no, that's my hat.
Oh, that's your hat.
I don't know where the camera is here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Looks like that's north of Sacramento by, I don't even know, 100 miles, maybe 50 miles
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
You're
got-
6 hours north of Todd's house,
Oh, really? Todd's.
Loma
Todd's-
Vista. Loma Vista Bee Company,
Where is he at?
around Fresno.
Oh. Yeah, I wish I would have. Well, it was all dark when I went through, so obviously the sightseeing wasn't the best, but I got to see all the sweet sagebrush of Nevada, so that was good. there's nothing in that state.
Probably a lot to look at, right?
That is 500 miles of pure nothing.
You could take a picture of it when you start into it and take a picture at the end, and it's going to look the same, right?
You ain't a kidding. You ain't a kidding. It's wicked.
Hey, so when you get, I thought I seen a picture of that. Was that on your Facebook page? Was that a gooseneck trailer you were hauling down there? I can't recall.
No,
Was it
just a bumper pole.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
And you have was that an F350 you were using or a
Yeah.
450?
350.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
How many colonies did you haul down there?
I took 34 down.
Okay.
So not a whole bunch, but
Yeah. And how many you leaving up there in your area?
I have I don't know, 15 maybe
Okay.
that I
Gotcha.
left here. Yeah.
So sounds like you took 65%, 70% of your colonies down there.
yeah, a couple of them were some of my buddies, my mentor. I took some of his down with too, so
I gotcha.
not all 34 are mine, but all 34 went with my group. So
Now, are your singles, doubles? What is that? What do those look like?
doubles.
Doubles. Okay. And
Yeah.
you have them fed up pretty well, or are you gonna wait till they get down there and then feed them up?
No, they're fed up pretty good now, but I hauled down feed for them too in case they need it, but
Okay.
they shouldn't need it until they get into the almonds, and then once they get into the almonds and come out, then he'll pump some feed on them.
Okay. What'd you do? Haul a tote down there of feed?
Yeah, I
What was
took
it?
a
High fructose
IBC
corn syrup?
tote down. It was just cane sugar, so
Okay.
he'll have to mix it.
Oh, okay. So you just put dry in there.
Yep,
I gotcha. Okay.
that's a little bit easier to transport and
Oh, yeah.
less.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? It's funny you mentioned that. I really like feeding sucrose or cane sugar over high fructose corn syrup. Was some information that I've seen in the past. Not that they can't do fine, because I'm sure that they do. And commercial beekeepers do that all the time, right? And
Yeah.
let's be honest, if I ran as many colonies as those guys, yeah, I'd be feeding high fructose corn syrup too, because those guys talk about it. And I talked to a couple commercial guys in my area about it and stuff. And he's like, he goes, there could be a difference for me, Tom, of $10,000 going from cane sugar to high fructose. And I'm like, yep, I'd be feeding high fructose too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
It's like going down there to Hardeman's, and they're between 6,000 and 8,000 hives, and they're getting a trailer load a week of syrup.
wow.
Is
Is it a tank? Probably a tanker trailer, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A tanker trailer.
That's insanity, man.
40,
Jeez.
a tanker truck.
You're gonna get sick of pumping syrup and getting sick of feeding bees. That's gonna.
Yep.
Well, they're feeding bees in the hives down there, like they're mating boxes, and then they're bees that they use for shaking bees. And then on top of all that, since they're making a package, they also are sitting there filling syrup cans, and they got a syrup can and a lid, and the thing actually seals the lid like in a grocery store or whatever, and they have just thousands of cans that they're filling syrup lids with
Yeah.
and
That's
all
a lot
that stuff.
She's a little cuter than you, Bracken.
Yeah.
yeah, she's fun. She's
Yeah.
cute. She missed her dad for the 2 days I was gone.
Heck yeah, man. Soak it up, buddy. They don't say
Does she
little.
help you in the
Trust
bee
me.
yard?
What was that?
Does she help you in the bee yard?
Not yet. This one's a little bit small. The other ones do though. So
Yeah. How old is that one there? 3?
she's 2.
2? Yeah.
Yep.
She must get the blonde hair from her mother because she's not getting it from you.
No, here's my wife. Introduce her.
Oh, holy cow. How does 2 dark-headed people come up with a little bit of blonde?
I don't know.
I was blonde when I was little, like her.
Maybe,
Okay, that makes sense.
maybe it's the mailman baby.
Uh-oh. Hey, look out.
Tom was blonde when he was a baby too. Now he's gray.
Yeah, I was blonde when I was a little kid too, like blonde, like your daughter there. Now I went from blonde to gray. I'm not really sure how that happened.
I had hair back when I was little.
Yeah, yeah. We all looked a little different just a few years back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get married, right?
Yeah, and that
Tread
gray
lightly,
starts coming in.
tread lightly. She's close by.
I know, right? Hey, Bracken, once it starts, you can't stop it, man.
Yeah, I know. This whole side, you can't tell on the camera, but this side and this side, I'm gonna look like Bill there in a minute.
Oh, no,
Hey.
you won't, because this is going back, and the one in the back's getting bigger.
I do like the silver beard though. That looks good.
See, then what you can do is, if you start getting tired from your day job and whatever and wearing you out, then in the wintertime, you just do the Santa Claus bit, right?
Yeah.
You just go Santa Claus for hire, right?
Yeah.
My father-in-law has a beard that is absolutely one of the fullest beards you'll ever see. And this thing grows fast. I mean, he can throw in a huge beard really quickly. And
Birthday today.
yeah, it's his birthday today. And what's funny about that is when he's walking around or whatever, and he's probably, what is he now? Late 60s?
Yeah.
I guess he's probably in his late 60s. Anyway, sometimes we go out
All
to
the
dinner
time.
sometimes, and
Anytime
you
we
see
go
kids peeking over the thing, and you'll see them kind of chatter. And then there was one time we were there, one of the kids was brave enough to come over to our table and go, "Are you Santa Claus?" And I'm just waiting for his response, and he goes, and my father-in-law Greg says, "Have you been good?" And he's like, and then he goes back over to the table, right? He didn't know what to say. He goes back over to the table, and you see him whispering with this kid or with his little siblings and stuff. And then they're all kind of coming over peeking. And he's like, "Have you kids been good?" And they're all like, "Yeah." And I think he had some candy or something in his pocket or something like that he gave to him, right? So it was pretty fun to see that.
All the time he gets that.
Yeah. And I kept telling him, I'm like, Greg, you need to do that Santa Claus bit, in the wintertime. I'm like, I bet you
There's
can
a
make
guy-
yourself a little coin, right?
Yeah,
He needs to start carrying candy canes around with him.
That's right. Yeah.
there's a guy in our bee club that had, like you say, has the beard and everything, and he actually went to Santa Claus training or whatever you want to call it, And
Oh, is that right?
It's big money for that stuff.
I bet. Yeah.
You can do a lot. You can make quite a bit of money if you look it. You can make quite a bit of money.
I would say so.
My dad's too grumpy to play Santa Claus consistently.
Yeah, her dad can be a little grumpy from time to time. I'm like, you can't throw the kids off or paddle them. Like, that's unacceptable, all right? You can't do that. So, anyway.
So anyway, Bracken, you drop them off, and then your other friend takes them and puts them into the orchards.
Yep. So I did a final grade before I took them down. That video will be posted here in a little bit, but I grade them A through C. A is 8 frames and above. B is 6 to 8 frames of bees, and anything below 6 frames, I grade it as a C. And I don't take my C's down because if they're not at least a B or an A, they're not going to make it into the almonds, and then it just costs money. You're shipping boxes that are just going to sit down there. So
They won't even use them in almonds if they're like below certain.
yeah. So this guy that I work with, he likes 8 or more. You can squeeze in maybe a 6 here and there if you're short bees, but the almond masters, they like to see 8 frames at minimum.
Yeah.
which is, it sounds easy to do, but transporting them and getting them down there, and then it's a lot of stress on those bees.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
I've heard a lot of guys say before, when you move bees, you can expect to lose 10%. You think that's a
Yeah.
pretty fair assessment?
yeah, I've lost. Yeah, I'd say probably 10%.
Yeah.
I think usually what happens, and this is just my 2 cents, and from what I've kind of seen, is most of the time I notice they go queenless. So I wonder if they ball the queen or something while they're traveling, and it causes issues, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be. Think about it like this too. Sometimes we've learned before that when there's a lot of upset that goes on in the colony or in the hive, the queen can be blamed for it. I'm not really sure of the reasoning why, and I've never really heard anybody give me a really good or a true answer. And I don't know that it always takes place, but I'm guessing, if it does go, the queen goes queenless, then it's probably likely that something like that happened. Or I guess it's possible if those frames might swing a little bit and pinch a few bees, if she gets damaged, then, I guess that's possible.
Yeah, there's way too many facts. I think there's a lot that goes on with the stress of moving them.
Yeah. So now where you're setting these bees and where he took them in at, is there a little bit going on as far as plant life and such, or is that pretty much all settled down?
So right now he says it's pretty much all settled down. He said the mustard seed will start blooming, or the mustard should start blooming the 1st of January.
Oh, okay.
So they pretty much only need to make it till January, and then they'll start getting a flow coming in.
Yeah, I got you.
Get some pollen. I don't know if they get a whole lot of nectar off the mustard, but I know they get pollen. So
yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering too. I mean, we'll have some of that plant here. I guess some farm fields will use it as kind of like a cover crop too, from time to time, depending on where you're at. So I have seen pollen coming in off of them, but like you said, I don't really know if it actually produces a lot of nectar, and maybe that depends on the location it's in, and the soil types, and the moisture content in the soil, and all those good things. Maybe there's
all the
bit,
farming things that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how you hear people talk about, well, my bees don't work this, or my bees don't work that, and such. But we have to think about it. These plants are gathering moisture and nutrients from the soils that we're in. And the soils across the U.S. are vastly different, from sandy and loomy to clay to rocky. And I mean, the pH of the soils probably varies quite a bit too. So that's going to affect, even though a plant might grow and survive, it may not thrive as well in a certain environment, right? So it's possible that maybe they can get something off of it, but not to the fullest extent because of the soil type or something. So
yeah, so many factors.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an art when you kind of learn your area that you keep bees, to know what they get, when they're bringing something in, if they're you see them working a plant, you don't see them working a plant, and then you hear some, like we had a conversation before in the past, and I don't believe it was on your channel, Charlie, but about the what was the purple flower that's set up there? Alfalfa.
At Sturdy Farms is alfalfa.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the alfalfa plant here. I have some bees set up, and where he grows a field, I'm guessing it's probably a 10-acre field, and he doesn't spray anything on any of his stuff. And he grows cattle and sheep there. And he has that alfalfa field that he cuts. And he was able to cut it about 4 times this year. And I know normally they like to cut that alfalfa right before the bloom hits, but I know at least 2 of those times he was late on cutting it. And I said something to him about it. He's like, yeah, I just haven't got to it. And I said, well, hey, you can leave that alfalfa bloom as long as you want. But interestingly enough, every time I seen it bloom, and I'd go out in that field and I'd walk around and I'd see all different other pollinators on there. But I actually never seen my honeybees on it. So I wasn't sure why, if it was a different cultivar plant, if somebody had said in the past that it can be difficult for bees to work, so they may neglect it until there's nothing else. So I'm not exactly sure. All I know is what I've gathered in just a casual observation, but
I'm in between 3 different alfalfa fields.
Okay.
My apiary is right in the middle of them, and they won't touch it.
Okay.
The bumblebees love it.
Yeah, I've seen
Because
bumblebees
that
on.
flower reacts to the weight of the bumblebee. But if the honeybees are going to pollinate it, they have to wait for the bumblebee to leave while the flower is still full open so they can get to it.
Okay.
Want to say hi to Sandy and Glade out there in Utah. There's your neighbor there, Bracken.
Yeah, my neighbor like 6 hours
And
away.
hi.
Does that mic sound all right? I did a little adjustment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's better.
Yeah, you're good.
And hey, Ryan. Well, we got about 84 folks on here. You want to, I guess it's about a good enough time to Tom and Melissa and myself are going to put out an announcement here. I do have, I did copy the link. I'll go ahead and put it in. With the help of Melissa doing all the legwork for me, Tom and Melissa and myself are going to have a New Year's Day evening, I guess is how you would, at what is it, Melissa? 6 o'clock?
6 to 9.
6 to 9 at the pizza place,
Craft House Pizza.
Craft House Pizza out there in Louisville, Kentucky.
It's not far from the Expo Center at all.
It's only about maybe a mile and a half, if I remember correctly. So it's very close.
So we've rented a room. It'll hold at least 50 people. And then Melissa says there's the rest of the restaurant. We can kind of overflow into that if we get more than 50 people coming in. I've got a link here that I'm going to drop. Click on it. And what it amounts to is it'll get, you'll put in your name and your email address. And it also gives you the address of the place and all that. And gives us a count of how many people are coming.
So it's free to come, but we need you to have a ticket so that we can keep track of how many people are coming because the room only holds 50 people. So again, you have to get a ticket just so we can keep count. There's no fee involved in it, but you have to register and get a ticket.
But speaking of fees, this room is not free. So we will be having a donation bucket there for anybody. I would hopefully at least put in a couple dollars. It's going to cost us $100 for that night. So if everybody puts in a few dollars, if there's 50 people and 2 people, everybody puts in $2. Everybody, it covers the cost of the room. So I do ask you to do that, when you arrive. And then they have pizza, they have wings and whatever. What else type of food? They got
Sandwiches and pasta. Yeah.
And pasta and beer and
whatever. Yeah, there was a lot of beers on tap, if I remember correctly. So if you're a person that likes
yeah, we ate there
likes
last
to drink.
year. The food was really good. So
Yeah.
it's not some place that nobody's eaten at before and
Yeah.
we're walking in blind.
Yeah, their pizza was good. They have calzones and everything else too, I believe.
Yeah.
So
all right. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link. And
Check your
there's
messages, Charlie.
Yep,
hey Lee, you could go, I mean, just saying, buddy, you could. I'll send you directions, okay?
appreciate that, Lee. Now, Ricky is coming to Nobby now. Is that?
No, he didn't say that, but I'm pushing him. That's what I'm doing. Just same as I'll push Lee.
Yeah, Lee, you need to, you get rid of the migraine headache when you come to Nobby
That's right. See, that's exactly it.
and all that. And Bill, I'll talk to you after the show tonight.
All right.
And the dinner is that Wednesday night. So
It is.
Wednesday.
It's New Year's Day, the 1st,
Yeah.
from 6 o'clock in the evening till 9.
Yeah. January 1.
Charlie, if you go up a little bit further, Brian from Flower Street had a little question up there. You see it?
Where are we at?
Up about it. Just a handful of comments. At
Back-
740.
Is there a VIP room?
Yep, there sure is.
Sure.
That's why you have to get tickets to it, Brian.
That's right.
We can make a VIP table.
Oh. Yep. It's the Sawmill Charlie experience, guys. Hey, Bracken, you coming to that?
No,
That's the wrong answer, bud. You're supposed to shake your head up and down and say yes.
I wish. Maybe next year.
All right.
I'm currently building the house right now, and I got so much stuff going on.
Well, you're already living in a house right now. You don't need another one.
Yeah, you're right. This one isn't mine though, so
Yeah. I understand that. I've never built my own house, but I was a carpenter for years, and I've helped a lot of people build houses. So
Yeah,
I
we
get
got-
there's a lot going on when you're building a house.
the walls are getting poured. Let's see, Monday. Framing's coming, and I'm gonna do all the electrical on it, so I've got to start getting some of that stuff ready. Glade, it should have been me. I see your comment. We'd have a lot more fun talking about bees than you and your wife. I told Glade he needed to take me with him.
Oh,
And then he commented, "It was either you or my wife."
I see it there.
Well, Paul, you can have a place to go when you get here if you're coming out by yourself.
Wow.
Jeez, Sandy.
That's
You're
a
gonna
generous
have it.
donation.
You're gonna have the room paid for by the time this chat's over.
No kidding.
Well, whatever extra money comes in, we can just do some sort of raffle or a gift, like a gift prize goodie bag or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Nancy wasn't going to come, but she's coming now. She's got her ticket. She's got her room.
Tom, do you move your bees around quite often, or are they pretty stationary?
Pretty well stationary. I mean, I'll move hives around a little bit here or there. If I want to make, like, for instance, I had started a bunch of nukes this year, and I moved them all to one specific yard so they wouldn't get beat up on this late in the season. And I'm glad I did that, actually, because had I left some of these smaller colonies with these big, robust colonies, they probably would have gotten picked on a little bit more. I've probably seen a little bit more robbing this year than I have in the past. Nothing too crazy, but definitely notice some. But most of these colonies are not even at my house or property. They're at other people's property. So if there's a robbing event going on, I wouldn't see it until it's too late. But you can always tell when you come back to it and you see torn up comb and dead bees in the front and no activity. You're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that hive was robbed out. But I haven't seen any robbing as of more recently, because what I've been trying to do, even colonies, when I go into a yard that have a little bit of a varying size in there, and I'll try to, and some of them they need to be fed, and some of them that are just not so bad, I'll still put some feed on them to keep them occupied and keep them busy. Try not to just feed a couple hives and then, because I'm telling you, when you start going into a yard and you start feeding bees, and I'm using a pump, a trash pump on a big tote, and using a hose and a valve set up on there, that kind of stuff kind of airifies a little bit, and that smell gets out in the air very quickly. And those bees, when you start to feed just a few colonies, I'll notice that I'll start to have stragglers hanging on me, and as soon as I move that hose to the next hive and open it up, they're right on top of it pretty quickly. So sometimes I have to blow some smoke down into the trays or the feed things to keep the bees out of there, so but yeah, I do move a little bit, not too much, but I have been. That's what I asked you earlier on. We had that chat, I don't know, a couple weeks back about moving bees, because I do have some aspirations to move locally.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
maybe
right.
do some local
orchards.
pollination. Yep. So I don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but I'm going to have a little more time this winter, and I'm going to go out to some of these orchards and try to make some contacts there. Even if I can't land something maybe for this spring, if I can get my name out there in some form or fashion, something will happen eventually, you know. So I'll be able to make something happen, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is just producing another revenue stream for those bees in the early spring. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Sweet.
Nancy had an idea there. We could have a honey swap at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And instead of lugging it around all the through the conference area,
Mm-hmm.
so let's do a honey swap. Now we have to lug it around the trade show, which that saves my shoulders because I was lugging it around last year. That's for sure.
I didn't actually participate in the honey swap, but what I did do is I filled up some smaller, like I got as a raffle one time, I got like 25 of the half-pound squeeze bottles, and I don't use those. So what I've done is I'll fill those up and put the lid on them and throw them in my backpack, and I'll just give them away, you know? So Melanie, we have some apple orchards up here. And then we also have
Vineyards.
We have some vineyards. I know even though most vineyards don't need pollination, from what I understand, is that
That's
they
a good
can
idea,
they can
Brian.
benefit more when there are bees on site. I guess you get a better crop out of them. That's kind of what I've read and understand. So this is kind of fresh and new to me, but I'm particularly looking for apples. But I kind of wanted to understand what happens in the specific orchard when they spray, how they spray, what they use, and to see if it's actually worth the shake for me. If it's something that I don't like, I may just completely abandon it and not go back to it. But it was just a thought.
I'm going
All
to
right.
take on all your guys' ideas. What's a good idea?
Brian says bring your own swag and do a
Yeah.
raffle.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna have some with us. I'm gonna print out some T-shirts, some hats, maybe a few other things, and bring stuff like that too to give away.
Maybe somebody can shoot me their address and I can send some of my hats out to you. I'll donate
Yeah.
some. That'd be fun.
I'm
Yeah.
going to text it to you. Cool.
Yeah. That'd be good. I hope I have
Brian, hats and creamed honey for everyone.
Now we got to have No Life Beekeeper hats.
I ordered my sweatshirt today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Do they have those in zippered or not, or all pullovers?
You can get that on, you can like get it on anything you want on that website. I think that website like takes that logo or that design that Westcliff made and puts it on anything.
It's like a store.
Yeah. So you probably can, if you go on there, you probably can find a zip up that you can put it on.
What's the site that it is that it's on?
It's on Zazzle, I think. Zazzle.
That's right.
Bill, do you move your bees around quite often?
Not unless I have to.
Not unless you have to.
I don't like moving them because they're happy where they are. They do very well where they are. Now we built a new house, so we're going to have to move the bees to the new apiary, which material came in yesterday to build all the stands or the bases for them. So I got to get busy on that. Charlie, you can come down and help me build those if you want to.
Mhm. Your bees stayed in a room the whole time, Nancy. So Nancy, tell me where are you? What is the hotel that you're at? I know that Nancy is flying in. She's going to need a ride to the. I'll either go get her, or if that's somebody else is in that same hotel.
Well, that airport is like dangerously close to the place, so you wouldn't have to drive far.
No, you ain't got to drive far to get there.
You can probably walk if you wanted to.
Well, it'd be a little dangerous to walk in that neck of the woods.
Oh, would it?
Yeah. We didn't see it much during the day, but we did see it in the evening going to dinner. And it's not a neighborhood you'd want to do a lot of walking in.
Mm. So,
You guys' weather starting to get cold yet?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's getting a little bit, it's, I don't know, it's jacket weather. And one day here, it felt like it was supposed to rain and the air was wet. And I had to put my Carhartt coat on.
So far,
Yeah.
so good here. It's been fairly warm. I mean, overnight lows have been in the 40s or 50s. It's supposed to be a little warmer this weekend, get up to high 60s or 70. But it looks like for us, midweek next week, the highs are going to be in the 40s. So we'll see what happens with that.
Do you guys use any of that Hive Alive fondant to feed your bees?
I have in the past. So last year was the first year that I used that. The lady that owns a local beekeeping supply place near where I'm at gave me a really good deal, and I think I bought, I don't know, 15 boxes maybe or something like that. And then I fed that, and I only fed it as they needed it. So I'd have hives, and I don't know, maybe it was around January. I'd cut a small little hole in the bottom of the little pack. And I'd throw it down on top of it, just left a shim on there, threw a pack down and left it. And every once in a while, if you get a day where it kind of warms up a little bit, I might pop the tops and just see what it looks like in there, check the cluster. I mean, I don't go diving down in it or anything, but just kind of peeling it back, just curiosity gets the best of you. And we don't see the same temperatures that you do up north. I mean, it doesn't get that nasty here. So we have plenty of days where it can be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've seen a couple more folks come in, Jack and Danette, and let's see, Richard. If you're coming to Nobby, we're going to get together January 1 in the evening from 6 to 9. And here is the link for your ticket or reservation or whatever you want to call it. If you're coming. You there, Nancy?
Hi. Yep, I'm in. So
Hi, Nancy.
the hotel. Hi guys.
Hello.
The hotel I stayed in last time was True by Hilton. I'm gonna say it was. It was like if I walked out the back door of my hotel and then I was at the back door, which was they were using it as the front door for the Crown. So I'm like a 2-minute walk from the Crown. Right? The buildings are next to each other. So they would, the buses, the what do you call them?
Shuttles.
The shuttle. Yeah, the shuttle would go to the Crown, then it would come to us, and then it would go to another hotel and another hotel. So, there were so many different people on that, you were going to see somebody. But I don't know how to get to that pizza, but I'm sure, I mean, I just somebody from my hotel or the Crown, they'll be going. I'll just ride with them.
Hey Charlie, where did you say you stayed at down there? I'm looking at the.
I'm at the Hilton Inn at gate number 4.
Where do you stay, Bill?
We're staying in the same hotel we stayed in last year, which is Homewood Suites,
Mm-hmm.
which is like right outside of gate 4.
Has to be the Hilton, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is the Homewood Suites by Hilton.
Gate.
Yeah.
When you say gate, a gate to what? The
Expo Center.
The Expo Center.
Oh, I guess we were out the front gate.
Well, that's gate 1.
If
Not
I was
sure.
next to the Crown.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you're towards the airport.
6.
I'm at the Hilton Garden in Louisville, Kentucky, or airport. Or
Yeah. That was over by the
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right next door to the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. You're right down the street from me, Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see where gate 4 is at. Yeah.
Where
that's
are
on
you
that's on the west side, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where the craft house is all I got to do is go down. Looks like to me, get on the back road on 61 and kind of go the back way to it. And all that. Stay off the interstate.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to get on the interstate. we stayed in the Melissa and I did. Let's see. It's the Fairfield Inn and Suites. The back kind of backs up to the parking lot of the entire expo center area. And it's off of Phillips Lane.
Yeah, you're down there down at the bottom end of everything.
That's right. Yeah, we're kind of just down from gate 1, basically, and then where the Crown Plaza is at, and then
Yeah,
and
that's
then-
near me.
yeah,
That's near. Yeah.
Well,
Phillips,
I can pick you up, Nancy, because I'll come down Critton Drive, which then make a left on Phillips Lane,
Yeah,
which will.
I'm on Phillips.
You're at what residence?
I'm on Phillips Road. The True by Helton is on Phillips Road.
she's only probably a couple hundred
Yeah,
yards down from the gate.
Yeah,
1
I see it. I see it now. Yeah,
next to the Crown Plaza.
we can pick you up there and drive right straight over to Interstate or Route 61 and make a right. And the pizza place is down 3 or 4 blocks on the left
Cool.
and all. Cool.
Let's see.
That's easy. There's Phil.
And then
Haven't seen Phil.
and then if you want to do the honey swap, you want to do the honey swap there, instead of lugging it around, I could organize that somehow. I'd help do that.
Yeah, everybody just bring what they want to bring in and swap things out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll just set a table up for it.
So, Charlie, I just looked it up. So I'm looking it up from the hotel we're staying in, which is the Fairfield Inn and Suites. You guys are literally just right around the corner from us. And from my hotel, if you go kind of, I guess it's east on Phillips Lane, past gate 1, you're going to go under Interstate 66 down to 61. And then you kind of head
Make a right.
south. You make a right. So it's only from my hotel to there. It is only
Where are you staying at? What name of it? What's the name of it?
Fairfield Inn and Suites. It's only 1.3 miles, so it's really close. If you're staying anywhere close to that exposition center, like right around there, it's not going to be more than a couple miles for you to get over there. So it's a close location. You don't have to drive far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what would you call it? When I was booking things, I was just looking at the main thing that caught my idea, and a lot of folks said I didn't think about it. I said, well, the airport's down here at the bottom, and you got all the hotels close to the airport. And I'm like, I like it, where it's a little bit farther away from the airport, which worked out fine. And then last year was, for me, to be quite honest with you, I got a Hilton card, so it actually was cost effective for me to be at the Hilton.
Mm-hmm. Get points, right? You'll get your points.
I get my points. I don't have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those freebies ever so often.
Did Phil say that?
I gotta start going to the same hotel all the time.
Well, it's like we're dwindling down in here.
And the last time I went to the hotel twice, this is my 4th year going down. But I don't know how to accumulate.
It's your second time down. Say.
Right, but I was on the other hotel twice.
Yeah, if you can stay in the same branded hotel.
Yeah,
And then you'll get.
or I want to get points from my airplane ticket.
Oh, yeah. That's
Let's see. Let's mute. Anyway, so as far as bee work, everybody seems to be kind of staying the same situation. There's not really a whole lot to do with our bees at this point in time, except for I don't know, some folks like to feed through the winter. I pretty much speed up before the winter. And I know Nancy, she likes Hive Alive, fondant and stuff like that.
18.
I'm going to go drop some of those on some of my colonies here probably tomorrow. I don't do it to get them through the winter. I strictly use it just kind of as an insurance purpose. If they want it,
yeah,
they take it. If they don't, whatever.
Or don't you usually kind of feed them with liquid and just, get them fed out completely where they're just packed out?
Yeah. Yeah. They have to weigh a ton of bricks to get through a winter here. Yeah.
Winter's a little bit longer for you.
What was that?
Winter's a little longer for you than it is for me.
Yeah. It depends on the year, I guess. Last year was terrible. Well, terrible as in it wasn't hardly a winter at all. It was pretty warm.
Yeah.
But
same.
I've noticed with those Hive Alive patties, I've had clusters so the cluster will start in the middle of the box, and as they move and follow the honey, they get over to here. Well, there's frames of honey over here, but they eat their way to the side of the box. I've noticed if I put that Hive Alive fondant across the top, it kind of gives them that bridge. And
Yeah.
I've noticed they'll go back and they can get over into the other honey. If you don't have anything for them to go up and over on, I've had a few colonies starve and die when there's honey on this side of the box.
Yep.
But they're all on this side of the box.
Yeah. Yeah, when those bees are clustered tight, they can't move too far, especially if it's cold like where you're at. They can't move very far very quickly. It isn't like they can all just kind of crawl very quickly to the other side and stay in a cluster. It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
It's quite a process, I think, for bees to cluster and uncluster.
Yeah, so that I call it the bridge. I put the little bridge in so they can. It seems to. I don't know, because sometimes
it's like a ceiling just to hold a little bit of heat down there that they can migrate a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Munch on it as they go across and keep it going. So,
and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Hive Alive fondant is already inverted sugar, so they can process it. They can digest it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say there. Whereas regular sucrose or dry sugar, I believe it has to be inverted before their stomachs can digest it.
Yeah,
That sounds right, Tom. What you just said. That sounds right.
Okay, I thought that's what I've read a couple different times. So
yeah.
Yeah, Matt and Sandy, they like it a lot.
it's actually Matt at Sandy Valley. Melissa made the same mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I've made the same mistake once other time.
That's what Melissa said. She said Matt and Sandy. I'm like, it's not Matt and Sandy. It's Matt at Sandy Valley Honey Company.
I do it
Oh,
every time.
Phil, I guess Phil over there, 35 Mile Bees. I guess we'll be going to Cracker Barrel one night.
The old tried and true, huh?
Yeah, why not? And then we were talking about the what is it? The mead tasting room that's on Nobby's. They're
Mhm.
gonna have that's gonna be Friday night, right? Or Thursday night. Thursday night.
Thursday.
If you're referring to Comfort Pro Suits, which is Matthew just
Yeah.
said, he is having what they call Beaks and Brews. And you can go to the Navi Facebook page, and he's got some listings on there. Now, he is selling tickets to it. They're $10 a piece. And that basically is just to cover some of his expense because he's renting a facility for that. And he's providing some finger foods and small stuff like that. So he has an expense in there. So I seriously doubt on $10 a ticket he's making any money. He's
But yeah, so it's
probably just
Thursday.
covering his costs, but that is Thursday. And I can tell you, I don't drink. Melissa doesn't drink either, but if you were interested in tasting meads or honestly just to go there for some great conversation, there was a lot of people there and it was a good time. I mean, I met a lot of new people and we had probably a dozen people from St. Louis that decided to come. And a few of those guys are mead makers. So everybody had a really good time. It was a good show. And he actually did a small contest, I think, with the meads, if I'm not mistaken, and handed out some awards or prizes there for the best meads and such. So, if you're interested in just a networking event, it's what I would call it.
That's more or less what I'm not a mead person either.
Yeah.
So
That's why I go. Yeah, that's on Thursday. I think we almost have every night already planned out except for Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So we have Wednesday night planned with the Craft House Pizza. Thursday night will be the event Beaks and Brews of Matthew, and then Friday night we're going to go meet up with a bunch of St. Louis folks. So if anybody on here is from St. Louis besides Matt, talk to us. We're going to probably go downtown in Louisville. If we end up going to the same place, there's a really nice Cuban restaurant down there, and I'll tell you what, that steak is good. They've got a really good menu there. Pretty impressed with it. They had a couple of outdoor rooms that had heaters in them, which was very comfortable. Just a great place. But that was kind of downtown Louisville.
We let those sweet Harlan outsiders go with us last
Yeah, we let the sweet Harlan folks, Jamie Wynn and his bride, we let them tag along. They're good folks too. So the only thing we haven't planned yet, Charlie, is Saturday night. Everything else is booked. I was
Sounds
telling
like a Cracker Barrel night.
could be.
Now I like that steak idea. One thing I got some filet mignon down there.
Oh, they had some really good steak. I don't remember. I tried looking back and trying to find that place again. And I looked up Cuban restaurants in Louisville. I think like 50 of them showed up in there. And I'm like, I don't even know. So I was looking for one of them downtown because I don't even remember where we went.
we found it.
You don't remember the name of it?
No, Melissa's my navigator. I drive everywhere and I let her navigate, tell me where we're going. And that's kind of how that works. So she's the one that gets to plug all that crap in the GPS or tell her which direction we're headed.
I'll find it.
She'll find it, but I'm telling you, this restaurant was pretty good. I mean, if you're looking for cheap, like Cracker Barrel, it wasn't cheap, but it's not like $150 a person. I mean, I think you're probably looking at maybe $50 a person ish.
How much?
Probably $50 a person.
I don't think it was that much. Maybe like 30.
You'll spend a $100 bill for two people.
Yeah. Let's see.
Now, why can't I see the chat? I want to see the chat at the same time.
What are you on?
Go over to the comments side on the right-hand side of the screen.
Are you on YouTube watching it or on the StreamYard? I mean,
It's on the
I
StreamYard.
think I'm on the
But I meant-
StreamYard now.
I meant on your
So
phone
where
or on
is-
a computer, or what are you on?
I'm on a tablet, an old tablet.
Yeah. So when I was doing it for my tablet the other day, you have to switch screens. You can't do both at the same time. There should be a button. Do you see the button
Yeah.
somewhere? Or it
Yeah.
slides over or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm pushing buttons. So I wanted to tell Bill I still have that second queen. That queen that they decided to make in September.
Yeah, they
October.
haven't killed her yet.
Nope. And she's all puffy and looking pretty. And so she was laying, and those eggs are gone. I think they cannibalized them just to,
Probably.
as part of their brood trimming thing, getting ready, for winter here. But yeah, they both look nice. They were on the same frame again, just waddling
Really?
around.
This
Yep.
is it.
I've seen that
Having a
two
good
different
old time.
times this year, as a matter of fact. Most of the time when people are looking in the hive and you see the queen, you don't look anymore, right? Because you're like, oh, she's on that frame, and you don't even bother to look. But twice this year, one of them in my hives and one of them at the Great Plains Master Beekeeping Program hives. This last month, when we were doing hive inspections and going through, we were waiting to see the queen, and it was kind of more of a teaching event. And I pulled up the frame, and I held it up in front of everybody. I'm like, all right, there's an anomaly right here on this frame. And I'm like, I'm expecting you guys to find it. They're like, what are we looking for? What are we looking for? Is there drones in there? I'm like, no, there's no drones. And I'm like, keep looking at it. It's like, oh, I see the queen. And I'm like, is that it? And it kind of led on. And someone's like, wait, hold on. Is that another queen right there? And I'm like, yep. And they were literally a half inch apart from each other. And
Really?
didn't, yeah. Whether or not, I'm guessing that had to be a mother-daughter. That's probably the only scenario that would have worked out where they would have tolerated each other. Whether it was maybe a late season requeening, and they just one of them hadn't been offed yet, or what the deal was, but they didn't mind each other, and the bees weren't upset at all. So, when
Yeah,
I've seen that before in the past, I leave them go.
Yeah, they made I was taking the frame out for something, and I saw a viable queen cell, and it was October. I'm thinking, what are you guys doing here? So I let it go. Another week later, I looked in, and she had emerged from there, and she was walking around. So I figured I might as well mark her. I don't want to mark a virgin, but this case, it was, okay to do it. So, and I just keep going in every week and looking at them, and she's filled out real nice. Like, she looks like a beautifully mated queen.
You could almost put the green dot on her and then go over the top of it with a different color, just lightly dab her on there, just so you see two colors, so you know which one is which. I would have that curiosity in me to know which one comes out of winter, if maybe they both do, or just one of them. Just
the mother is a 2-year-old pink. She's pink, and this is her second. This is her second winter. The mother, and then the blue one, she just emerged on October. Long after there was drones. So some people said they had drones left, but so yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious to see the theory of either, they're going to kill the old mother off, and then she is mated and she's going to take over the hive, or she's not going to get mated and then she's going to throw me some drone patterns in my drone cells, because I do drone flooding. I started that last year. So. But that would be interesting to play with. The guys were talking the other night about putting, virgins in and letting her spit out drones. But she needs drone comb. But letting her fill it up with drones to do drone flooding on a queen that you really want to spread her genetics.
Yeah, we started using some of those drone comb frames here this year. I got them in, I don't know, maybe only 10 or 12 hives, but we bought, I don't know, 50 or 60 of those frames. And what I was specifically doing was looking for something that we wanted more drones from a hive. Maybe it was a good producer, gentle. Maybe it was a little more hygienic hive, things of that nature. I'll throw a drone comb frame in there. And hopefully here if I can make time to do it here this next year, I'm going to start positioning those hives at 2 different yards where we can have maybe better genetics that we're looking for in our own. And then the ones that I don't want, in those areas, I'll move them out to an entirely different area. So,
well, yeah, you want to make sure, that you have a really strong hive. And if they do give you a lot of drones and they're laying drones, then that just verifies that you have a healthy hive. That's kind of what I do it for.
Yeah.
Just see the health of my hive. I mean, nothing's really going to change. But I do the Brad, the story frames where you have worker brood in the middle and then the sides are.
Oh, yeah.
And that works nice because you can, it's not a whole frame. And then if something goes awry and you need to get rid of those drone frames, you just cut them away from the foundation.
Yeah, good call.
So it's user
I've heard-
friendly.
I've heard people also utilizing, and this is a great tip too. And honestly, you wouldn't have to buy anything additionally. If you run deeps on your brood boxes and you have medium frames for, say, a honey soup or what have you, you can actually throw a medium honey frame in a deep slot. They'll draw the comb on the bottom, and it'll most likely always be, unless you have other frames in there, it'll be drone comb. And if you want to utilize it as a mechanical method to call, for mites or, whatever you're looking to do with it, it's very easy. You can cut it off, throw it away, and use it as a mechanical method for mite control. I've never utilized it like that, but I know a couple people in St. Louis that do, and I think it's ingenious because you don't have to have any additional equipment or frames.
I think it started out in my yard as a mistake. I didn't have enough deep, so in went a medium,
Yeah.
and then the rest is history. And I try not to cut them off though when they do make them. I like drones. I like my drones. I like lots of drones. I'm an aggressive mite treater, so I became an aggressive mite treater before I started with the drone flooding and getting lots and lots of drones. So,
do you typically make queens as well,
No.
or just no?
no, I just do summer solstice when my supers come off. I pull off. I start making my winter nukes, just walk away splits, and then I do my formic on the my 8-frame hives. And then if I come out and needing queens for formic, then I already have them.
Yeah.
And then I can just make a couple more to get me through winter, because those nukes will get me through winter.
Sure.
If not, replace hives.
Sure. I want to be a little more intentional this year after I make splits from colonies, even though maybe in the springtime or middle of summer, when I get those nukes requeened after I make these splits and they start laying, there's always that period where all that brood has been already emerged and opened up and the new queen has gotten mated and she starts laying. There's always a period in time in which you can actually treat. And I'm going to start using oxalic acid vapor on those colonies, so that any mites that could be in those frames that had emerging bees, I can nail them down and nuke them with the oxalic acid vapor. I'll probably do a couple rounds on each one of them, but I don't want to do it too early where I'm interfering with any queen mating or acceptance, things of that nature. But I want to play around with that a little bit more and utilize that method so that I can keep those colonies knocked back. Because I had a bad deal when I would use some of the thymol-based Apiguard on some nukes. It didn't work out real well, so I'm gonna utilize a little bit different program for those, and a little more of a safer bet, I guess. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, are your 5 frames, when you make your 5 frames, are they broodless?
Well, no, because I'm using capped brood mostly. There'll be a little bit of open brood on those, but I like to use a couple frames of sealed brood so I can boost those colonies quickly. But there's going to be a period of time where those frames will start to merge quickly. You get, whether you're using a queen cell, virgin queen, mated queen, whatever you're using, there's going to be a point in time where all those frames you introduced into that split will now open up and emerge. And then while that new queen gets mated, or whether it's a virgin again or it's a cell, and she starts to lay, which means there will be mating and acceptance already taking place, then I can hit them with oxalic acid vapor before they cap that new brood off.
I'm going to jump off, guys. Good talking with you.
Hey, Bracken,
All right.
take it easy, man.
Yep, Bracken.
We'll see you.
Take it easy, man.
Yep. Bye.
Thanks. I guess who wrote that, Melissa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amber, look at via honeybees. Well, actually, I can bring it up. There's the week's worth of chit chats every night of the week.
Yep, that's about it.
I thought Bill was on Mondays.
I am.
Oh no. Right. I see it. I got you.
Yeah, there's Bill right there.
Gunline, Beazle, Walker. Is Bob gonna be able to do Tuesdays on a regular basis?
Not sure about that. Depends on his schedule, I think.
Depends on us. Yeah, he did it this week.
Yeah. Joey was filling
That
in on
was
a
great.
couple of songs.
That was a great live. I went back and rewatched it, and I don't do that often, like almost never. That was
And
a
who's the
very
founder of the No Life Beekeepers
Sure.
group? I would say Bob Walker.
Mhm.
He's the one that coined the phrase.
So let's start these ones. I did a quick run around. And a couple videos so you can make it.
Well, yeah, it was just Bob and Lee, right in the beginning.
Look at that sunset though.
Yep. And then I found them 2 years ago. And they were doing lives pretty much every night of the week. And I was on there.
We'll see. Oh, man.
And then other people started doing it. And I started doing it on my Friday night thing.
And you know who else is part of that group? Jason, Bohemian Bees.
Look at this one.
Bohemian Bees was part of that group, right?
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
he's part of the No Life Beekeepers, yeah. But I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I'm not sure who does the No Life request part.
My husband made me popcorn.
I got mine right here.
Charlie's husband makes him popcorn every night too, Nancy.
I feel left out. I gotta make my own potato chips.
Oh, see? Yeah, get your wife to do it, Bill.
Yeah, right. You know what the old saying is, right, Tom?
Tell it
Happy
to
wife,
me.
happy life.
So the admins
What's so
for the No
funny?
Life Beekeepers page are Phil, Bob, and Todd. So
Who?
Bob Walker is an admin.
Yeah.
Kent is an admin. And then Todd is a moderator.
Todd Prager.
Yeah.
Todd Prager.
Prater.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Todd.
No, like he's you mean Luma Vista
yeah.
Todd.
Luma
Luma Vista.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Fresno, California.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil's the one that started the group. So Brad said.
I think you did. I think that's right. But as far as the phrase No Life Beekeepers, that was Bob's, I'll say, coin phrase.
Okay.
Orville's nephew. Mine's Pop Secret. Always good to see some new folks in, especially like Amber. I don't know I'm curious whether or not you found the page as it live on YouTube tonight, or whether or not you're actually a subscriber of mine that gets the notifications. So anyway, we're holding at 66.
So how many people signed up for that night then so far?
Right now, I think we're at like 20.
20 people.
Okay.
I think it'll sell out pretty quick, honestly.
Well, yeah, it just needs a week for people to know about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's see.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna get a chance to be a little more social this year than the last 2 years. I mean, it was great. I loved what I did, but now it's time to just change it a little bit.
19. We're officially at 19. It's been live.
Well, I mean, you worked Rooster's thing 2 years in a row,
Mm-hmm.
and one at Hive Life and one at this past first year.
I mean, it's fun, man. I mean, but there's so much, like, because it's Start Rooster, there's so many people that come by that you're just, by the time it's the end of the day, I had to go back to my hotel room and be quiet. Like, couldn't engage with any more people because it was just so busy.
Yeah, and
I
it's
just,
loud.
yeah, and I just ran out of heck,
Gas.
you know?
You got to recharge the batteries.
Yeah. So now this year I want to kind of like, you know, run along with the crew here a little bit more.
Well, thanks, Amber, for subscribing to Sawmill Charlie's Bee Farm. Also on Monday nights, go to I guess it would be under Bees All Day or
Yep, bees all day.
Bees All Day. Look, Google that under YouTube. That's Monday night's chat. And Tuesdays is that's the Walker Bee Ranch. And
Wednesday alternates between the 3 stream team guys.
I don't know. Tuesdays is kind of up for grabs, I guess. Just depends.
I think usually if Bob can't do it, then Joey might sub in, or
Joby or Brad or
yeah.
who else? Usually Joey or Brad. All that. But anyway, like I say, glad to see some new folks in.
I think I'm going to have to go back to liquid feed after this Hive Alive comes off. This Hive Alive fondant I have on. I'm pretty sure I went and bought 100 pounds of sugar in case I have just to have it handy. But I have a feeling they're going to need sugar between this fondant and the next fondant pack.
Yeah, Amber said she was on. Let's see, last night was Ricky, right?
Yeah.
Last night, yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's going under. Was it subscribe to Ricky?
Horizontal bees.
Horizontal bees.
Horizontal Bees.
Mm-hmm.
All one, no spaces, I don't think.
Yeah, just look up Horizontal Bees, Ricky's chat, and then you'll be able to get on there. You'll get a notification.
Amber, I would say that question is variable, Amber. It depends a lot on the cluster size.
Temperature.
The temperatures would play a lot into that. And I'll even say this, potentially, well, I would say probably those are the 2 biggest factors. Wouldn't you guys agree? The size cluster and the temperature.
Well, and you don't want to put that fondant on until, like, we don't put fondant or candy boards on our hives until January, because we want them to eat all the stores that they have first. Because if you put that fondant on there now or candy board on there now, they'll usually just go straight for that and ignore what stores they have.
You know, there's a difference too when you're talking about feeding syrup, where bees will actually invert it and then store it so they can digest it much easier. Whereas if you're just using regular sugar or sucrose, it's not inverted sugar. They have to invert it. There's no enzymes that have been added to it. So it's not as easily digestible for bees, but they can survive on it. And then you talk the difference of Hive Alive. And again, I think we just discussed this a little bit earlier, and I think Bill confirmed. I believe the Hive Alive, if I'm not mistaken, I would go to their website and check it out for certain, but I believe it's already inverted sugar. There's a few other things that are added to it, besides thymol, but it is an inverted sugar, so it's easily digestible for bees. So, everything's not created equal when you think about it.
Amber, where are you located at? What state are you in?
Amber, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm still feeding 2-to-1 sugar syrup right now, and the bees are taking it down. I would say you'll probably find some smaller clusters start to abandon it a little bit whenever it gets to be a little bit cooler. But if you can put that feed right over the cluster where they can warm it slightly, or even if you use like a jar feeder on the top where the sun can hit it and warm it up just a little bit on those sunny days, there may be a couple or a few hours a day, even in the wintertime, where the bees will take that sugar syrup down. I would just caution you to not have, if you're going to use like a jar feeder and you poke holes in the bottom of it, don't do big holes and don't do a lot of them, because on a smaller cluster, they'll be much slower to take it down. So you wouldn't want to get them wet with it where it's dripping too fast, like they can take it down earlier in the spring.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, the website doesn't say anything about it being already inverted sugar other than it's the highest fructose, glucose content sugar profile is very similar to nectar.
You got it in your
Okay.
popcorn.
So, I mean, it is possible I'm mistaken. I could have swore I heard somebody talk about it and say that it was inverted, but I could be mistaken though too. So,
Yeah.
so I would probably want to research that a little bit more. If it's not inverted, it's not as good as I thought it was, because inverted sugar, at
Yes,
least,
it is right here under
Okay.
composition and analytical components,
Okay.
ingredients, inverted sugar syrup, fructose, and they put fructose in it, fructose, dextrose, and saccharose.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like it is inverted sugar, so the bees can easily digest it then.
Yeah.
Don't search online and ask if it's inverted though, because my AI answer says no, Hive Alive fondant is not typically considered inverted fondant. It's meant to be placed directly on top of the bee cluster within the hive, not inverted or flipped upside down.
Yeah, I went to the Hive Alive website, and kept scrolling down through it and got to the specs.
Okay.
So
So they're using the word differently than what the inverted part is that we're talking about, where it's inverted, meaning it's digestible. They don't have the enzymes to break that sugar down.
They don't have to flip the package.
They don't have
to eat
the
it.
bees don't flip the package over, mid-season. I've never seen them do that. Maybe I'll put a little camera in there and see if the bees actually flip it over or invert it, The other meaning of
Now, Matt
I don't
asked
know.
whether I'm going to do a
It
live
might be
on
possible
Friday.
because I had 3 hives pull out the Apiguard cards
Mhm.
yeah.
with Apiguard still on them. They pulled them down through the frames and out
Holy
the front
cow.
door.
Wow, they were determined, huh?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I have had bees before completely propolize the card and start to encapsulate it up to the inner cover and built literally a bridge up to there. And there was a little bit of that product still left on there. So a couple, and it doesn't happen often, but I've seen it a few times where they've done that. So obviously my bees didn't get the full second dose.
That was last year though. They didn't do that this year.
I've seen a couple this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
But now I put AP tablets on this year, and they're tearing them up. They love them.
Interesting.
Matt wants to know whether I'm going to do a live on Friday at the expo. I won't do a live like tonight. I never tried that. I might do that off of my phone. Just kind of go around and broadcast or whatever. That'd be the only thing I could do. We'll have to see about that.
I think Lee and Bob did one year. They did. I think it was the Hive Alive one where they tried to do a live, and I think they found most of the people were in the auditorium.
Well, they actually had where Lee had all that set up in the corner there
Yeah.
with Ricky's horizontal highs.
Mm-hmm.
And Philip there, 35 Mile Bee, does an annual live walkthrough. Yeah, we could do that. That's something new for me, and I have to try.
Yeah.
You know,
Now
Those
back up a second. I was a little busy when you were talking about the Hive Alive fondant. Did you say that it is invert sugar or it is not?
Yes, it
It
is.
is.
It is invert sugar, the fondant.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Bill looked it up.
Because I was curious about that because I've been feeding, it went on early this year, and I was curious to know if there's, because they store invert sugar. So they're
Mhm.
storing that, the Hive Alive.
There's probably storing some of it, but not all of it. And you're
Yeah,
eating.
Yeah, well, right. They're gonna consume some. I mean, yeah, they're gonna consume, but the invert sugar is so it can go directly into storage.
No, that's so they can digest it. Their
Yeah.
digestive system cannot digest the granulated sugar. It has to be inverted so their digestive system, and I believe that's through adding of the enzymes, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't remember what enzymes have to be added so that breaks that sucrose down. And I don't remember what it breaks it down to. Bob Binney has a great video on that about feeding bees, and he does it with Lewis Bartlett. So I would recommend people go back to that. He really breaks it down. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to pretend to be one, but this is just through watching a couple of those and learning a little bit more about it. But inverted, I believe, would
Just means
be
easier digestible.
just to get it to the state of being digestible. And I believe that's through adding enzymes which break it down or invert so that they can their systems can digest it and they can get the nutrient or the nutrient value from that, I guess.
Yeah,
or the carbohydrate.
The fondant they don't typically store. They just eat. They just eat that. That's why you don't usually want to put that fondant on until the middle of winter because you want them to eat the stores that they have in the comb.
Yeah. And we'll say hi to James up in Alberta.
Yeah.
And hi, Norman. And Nancy, I thought of you, this new product out with spirulina nuggets or something like that. Have you seen that?
Ooh. I have seen it. It's something like bee bites or something.
Yeah, bee bites, yes, with spirulina.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that. And I was, I was reading about it and all of that, but I'm already using Hive Alive in all situations, Hive Alive around my treatments and stuff for health. And then I do the DFM, the super DFM in spring mostly. Every time I check the hive, I'll put a little tablespoon on.
And what are you finding with that? I mean,
I say this all the time, and then I get pushback on it. But so I started feeding that probably 5 years ago now. In the spring, I put a little tablespoon across the top of the bars, and if they're getting into trouble, if I see deformed wing virus and I see bold bee virus or string wing, I put it on all of them, but then if I start to see, something, I'll make sure I hit them again, and they bring themselves out. They clean themselves up. They do one of two things, I guess. They get rid of the sick ones. They have enough strength to get rid of the sick ones, and maybe it helps some of the ones that not to get sick.
so you get that black or black ball looking, them shiny looking bees. And you put the white powder in there and it kind of gets rid of all them.
Yep. Next time I go and check them now, it's really on. Like I'll see maybe 2 or 3 out of the whole hive. I'll see 2 or 3 bald bees. I'm not talking, 70% of the hive. I'm talking just, a handful of any of the symptoms I see. It's a small handful, and I'll put that on. And then I started putting it on just every time I did an inspection in spring. I would put a tablespoon on, and then towards the end, like right before I'm getting ready to feed for fall, I'll put a tablespoon on every hive.
So there's two enzymes that help the bees break down the sugars. One of them is invertase, and the other one's sucrase. And what it does is it breaks the sugar. It breaks down the sucrose into two simple sugars, so they can digest it in their gut.
Invertase is invert sugar, right? Is that the same thing?
No, it's an enzyme. It's called invertase.
Yeah, invertase.
And they add it to the nectar in their honey sac, and then it converts the nectar, primarily it's sucrose, to mainly levulose and dextrose solution. And then the sucrase breaks down any fructose and the glucose that's left over. So
then they
can
store
digest it all.
They store it and eat it later, or they eat it by then?
That's in their gut. Those are the enzymes that are in their gut.
He's talking about nectar. When they bring nectar in, that's what they add to the nectar.
Yes.
To invert it, and then they store that. The fondant is already inverted.
Yes. They don't
It's already
use
digested
enzymes for the fondant because it's already inverted. So what those two enzymes do is it inverts the sugar in their gut because they add it to it to break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bob Benny has a really good video again with not Keith Delaplane. What's his name again? The guy from the University of Georgia, Lewis Bartlett. He does a great video with it. And Lewis Bartlett breaks it down. Everything from high fructose corn syrup to regular sucrose, which is table sugar. And he talks about what happens in there. And when it gets inverted with that enzyme called invertase, I don't remember how he mentions it exactly, but there's something to do with because honey is around between, I think, 3.9. So it's very acidic. It's somewhere between 3.9 and like low fours. So when they add this, I guess because the nectar is so wet, it creates this, when that's added, it breaks it down and it creates, I believe it's gluconic acid, which also, when that happens, it creates a real, that breaks down, I think, to hydrogen peroxide. Bees can digest that. Now, like our digestive systems, we couldn't. If you took hydrogen peroxide, you'd throw up. But bees can actually digest that. So it's not toxic to them. It even goes further into that study and talks about how it's actually toxic to hive beetles too, believe it or not. He has a study and he breaks it all down. I'd recommend anybody go to that. Look up Bob Benny. Probably everybody on here knows him. And I don't remember the name of the title, but it's one that he did, I don't see, a year or two ago with Lewis Bartlett. He's out of the University of Georgia. And it's, I think, the difference of feeding high fructose corn syrup to sucrose. And it talks about the whole mechanism that works around that. So some of that stuff still escapes me, even though I've watched it probably 4 or 5 times. It really dives down to the science of it, really. But it's a good watch. It helps you to understand a little better what happens when feeding, what the bees do to it. It's a pretty good watch.
Well, and James, I think, is down south in the nice warm weather area, I think. He's not up in Alberta.
Brian. Oh, you corrected yourself. Never mind. I'm going to say, I don't know who that Bo Benny guy is.
What did he say?
You just missed. I was just picking on him.
Oh, yeah. That could have been the one he entered in the bee culture, Brian. I didn't read that there, but I'm just speculating because he did talk about a couple write-ups he's done in the past.
Roy at Super DFM is, I forget what it's more of a digestion, killing, I guess probiotics, I guess, is best way to explain it.
Yeah, it puts
So,
the enzymes back that they, as they die off or as they get excreted from the body, it helps them regenerate it and put it back.
So another thing I think that's kind of a little bit of a misconception, and I don't really know how to explain it well, but we talk about enzymes being alive. They're not alive to the point of like a bug is alive. But you know, honey, whenever it's still in the raw form, it's active, meaning, you know, it's alive. I use it in quotes, or active. There's active enzymes in there that are working. So it isn't like a bug or a microbe or something that's inside there. It's more alive with the
More like a chemical reaction, you might say.
I guess you
Yeah.
could call it that. I guess you could call it that. It's still active, you know. So you have to be careful when you say, "Well, it's alive." Well, people are like, "Well, it's not alive." Well, it is, but it's kind of prefaced with, you know, it's still active. It's still working. Bob also has another one presentation that he gives too on the honey processing honey and storage and all that good stuff. So it's really important. I think us as beekeepers need to understand the products that we're dealing, you know, and potentially the nectar sources of which they are, so we can educate the people who are buying from us so that we can understand how to properly, you know, extract it, store it, under what conditions, moisture content, all these things play along with, I think, having a good product. Now, I would say at the end, the general public could be very ignorant. You know, they're looking for taste mostly only, but you can really educate them and say, hey, we take really strong precautions on how we process it, how we store it. We don't want to heat it, you know, X, Y, and Z, because there's things that happen when you do all these different processes.
Well, Professor Hall here, he has the.
Yeah. Brad needs to come in. I'm sure Brad's really keen on this.
I guess he was a scientist at one time, I guess.
Protein.
And then David, he said enzymes considered biological catalysts.
There you go.
Yeah.
A catalyst. There you go. That's a good describing word.
Well, isn't that Super DFM Plus supposed to help with like pesticides and stuff like that too, or something like that?
Yeah, so I don't understand all the science behind it. I really don't. And I don't know if there's been a ton of research done on some of these supplements that they're now selling a little more readily and that we're giving to our bees that are pretty costly. Let's be honest. They're not. Most of them aren't super cheap. But the strong microbials does have what they call a DFM. And they also have the DFM Plus, which is I don't remember everything that said it. I'd have to go grab.
The plus is for like when you got bees at apple orchards getting sprayed with stuff. It's supposed to help bind against that stuff and get it out of their hive or out of their system, I guess.
So there's the Super DFM. There's the DFM Plus.
I don't know. I just never knew whether Super DFM was snake oil or what.
Well, I don't think there's been a whole lot of testing done on it besides the companies that are selling it, right? You're kind of looking for, you know, testing to be done by alternative labs.
Yeah, I've seen that, Brad. I haven't been able to sit there and watch it all yet. Another thing with Super DFM, the gal that invented it, she was on Fred Dunn's program about a year or so ago, and basically it was more like in-house testing and stuff in their own bee yards and stuff. And they were also, their other business was to deal with farm animals and stuff like that to, you know, to give them healthy outcomes to. Oh, anyway. Yeah.
Your beepers.
It all depends as far as field trials, yeah.
Bee Culture put out a good article in 2016. I'm trying to find it now. The name of the article. It had to do with honey. Here it is, The Chemistry of Honey. It came out in July of 2016, and it goes through the chemistry of honey, what the honey is actually, the makeup of it is, how they are able to change it from sugar, how to change sugar into nectar, that it's a power food for the bees, and using enzymes and dehydration. And it's a fairly lengthy article in the terms of being an article, but it's written by Charlotte Riddle, and it's a pretty good article.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, the chat tonight. I think we pretty much talked about all we can talk about because there ain't much to talk about and everything. Melissa or Jack and Danette wants to know whether or not the girl's on yet.
No, there's well, I haven't been watching the whole fight. I've just kind of been going back and forth, seeing what was going on. So I think these two guys are fighting right now, and it's their last round. They've got 2 minutes left in this round. So maybe the girls go on after them. I'm not sure. Not sure what the whole schedule is, but
is that the Netflix staged fight between?
Yeah. I figured it would be some entertainment later on this evening, if nothing else.
Yeah.
See if he takes somebody else's ear off.
Yeah, I think all of it's staged. I saw a little bit of a snippet today from it where where Tyson smacked the guy in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom said he
I
was
think a lot
watching
of
it.
it's going to be staged.
Yeah. We'll see. Interesting, you know.
No problem, Matt. Mark Miller says the girls box next.
Next,
Is
okay.
this a free thing, or is that you have to pay to see it?
It's free. It's free on Netflix. It's live right now.
Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't pay to watch it.
I wouldn't either.
I guess I am paying. I have a Netflix subscription, but not specifically so I can watch this.
Somebody had said to me, and I didn't go back and rewatch it, but the whole Mike Tyson slapping him had to do with Mike Tyson walked up there in socks, and I guess
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Paul Logan.
Paul Logan, whatever his name is. The
whatever,
other guy.
whatever his name is, the other boxer, Paul Logan, Logan Paul, whatever his name is. Actually walked up, and when he came in low, he stepped on Tyson's foot. So Tyson's knee-jerk response was that he, I guess, open-handed hit him. Who knows? I agree with Bill, though. I think all this stuff is set up and staged.
Yeah, I think it is, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Is his brother's name Logan or something? There's like two of them.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know.
the other one.
It's probably a YouTuber that our boys have talked about
They
or
are.
something.
They are.
Yeah, the other fight, the tall guy with the beard, he's a YouTube guy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is then.
Yeah.
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 He just started fighting in 2017 or 2018 is when he started.
Right. Yep. Oh, these guys just finished.
On to the next one, I guess.
Yep.
All right. Well, all right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down, and we'll see you next Friday night, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and for another good chat.
Don't forget to register for the dinner before all the tickets are gone.
Like I say, go ahead and register for like Melissa said. Let me see if I can put that up another time.
I posted it on our Facebook page, and it's also on the No Life Beekeepers Facebook page.
come on.
Technical difficulties, Charlie.
Yeah, trying to get it to highlight.
Oh, I got you.
All right, there it
Right.
is, pinned at the top. To register to go to the No Life Beekeepers pizza party and all that.
Like Brian said, it'd be a good spot to exchange any swag if anybody has any. We end up for you, and if you want to bring any bottles of honey to exchange, things like that.
Do a honey swap, yeah.
Yeah, do a little mini honey swap,
We'll
or
set up a couple tables specifically for that.
it'll actually be a real life live chat. It'll be more live than this live is.
Maybe if anybody brings swag, we'll actually like door prize raffle that off
Good.
Is that
We're
on
gonna bring-
Monday night? That's on Monday night, right?
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday the 1st. It's
What
the
time are you
first-
getting in? You're getting in Monday, aren't you, Bill?
I'm getting in on New Year's Eve.
Okay, so you'll be in on
Tuesday.
You'll be on.
New Year's Eve is
New Year's
Tuesday.
Eve. You'll be there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going down to Nashville and then staying and coming up.
We've had a change of plans because I'm using the freight company to ship all my stuff from here out there. So I only have to bring a small trailer. So I'm going to come across West Virginia. I'm going to roll the dice.
You're gonna be brave like me.
Yep, I'm going to roll the dice.
How would you come from where you're at? I think 81 straight south.
81 to 64. And shoot right straight across 64 to 65 and then come down 65 to Louisville.
Okay. All right, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down. We'll catch you all later.
I need to do
See you,
at least
everyone.
2 batches.
Nice.